Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu. Okay, now let's practice some Vipassana meditation, insight meditation that brings wisdom to see things as they really are. Today I'm going to do the meditation, the Vipassana meditation on the 5 groups of clinging, Kanda Bhavana. So this meditation is very powerful in terms of understanding the Four Noble Truths, the suffering, the cause of suffering, end of suffering, the path leading to the end of suffering, and also in terms of attaining the first stage of enlightenment. The practitioners have to abandon the identity view, the notion of self embedded in the depth of the heart. So this meditation will help all of us to understand the non-self, the characteristic of non-self, impermanence, and suffering, and also this entire life is devoid of a permanent entity called self, and instead it is a constant mechanism of arising and passing away of causes and conditions. So that is how powerful this meditation is. Let's try to understand. Please listen silently, and at the same time try to investigate the true nature of the life. First, we are going to investigate the form group of clinging. That is the body. As Buddha explains, we need to understand that this body is made up of 4 great elements. In this body, there are solid parts, such as head hairs, body hairs, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, bones, bone marrow, kidneys, liver, heart, lungs, small intestines, large intestine, stomach, and feces. All these parts are derived from earth element. All these solid parts of the body eventually go back to the earth and become a part of the earth and disappear. All the parts in this body that are made up of earth elements are impermanent, subject to change. Earth element is not mine, not I am, not myself. All these parts of solid parts of this body are called internal earth element. And there is this great external earth element, which is the great earth. However, both these internal and external earth element is just simply earth element. Earth element is impermanent, subject to change. Earth element is not mine, not I am, not myself. Also, there is in this body the things that are made of water element. All the liquid parts of this body, watery things of this body, such as bile, phlegm, pus, sweat, fat, tears, snot, spittle, and urine. They are all part of water element. They constantly mix with water and disappear. All the liquid parts of this body eventually go back to water and become part of the water. All the liquid parts of this body are called internal water element. And there is this great external water element as well. However, Both of these water elements have the same nature. The water element is impermanent, subject to change. The water element is not mine, not I am, not myself. Water element is impermanent, subject to change. Also, there is heat inside this body, which is called internal fire element. And there is external fire element as well. However, both of these fire elements have the same nature. They are impermanent, subject to change. The heat inside this body, the heat that digests the food we take in, the heat that ages this body, this fire element is impermanent, subject to change. Fire element is not mine, not I am, not myself. The last element by which the body is made up of is air element. There's wind going through this body, which is called internal air element. Upgoing wind, downgoing wind, wind in the belly, wind going through different parts of the body, in breathing and out breathing, wind. This is the internal air element. There is external air element as well. Both the internal and external air element has the same nature. Air element is impermanent, subject to change. Air element is not mine, not I am, not myself. The wind inside the body is constantly mixing with the nature, the wind in the nature with the external air element. And eventually this wind inside the body will go back to the nature and becomes a part of the nature. Air element is impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. The pain and suffering arise in this world due to lack of understanding the true nature of this body. With that ignorance, we try to cling to these bodies. We try to have control over these bodies. We try to experience lasting happiness. But this body is made up of impermanent things. This is called Rupa Kanda, group of form, group of clinging. The form existed in the past, also is impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. The form that will exist in the future is also impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. The form that exists at present is impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. The day the desire is abandoned for the form group of clinging is the day the suffering is going to end. The second group of clinging is Vedanupadana Kanda, the feeling group of clinging. We experience feelings due to lack of understanding. We think we feel sad, we feel happy, and we feel neutral. However, all the feelings arise with the arising of contact. Contact means three things come together: meeting of eye, visual object, and consciousness is called eye contact. When eye contact happens, feelings arise. When ear contact happens, feelings arise. When nose contact happens, feelings arise. When tongue contact happens, feeling arise. When body contact happens, feelings arise. When mind contact happens, feelings arise. Even though we like or not, feeling only lasts as long as contact lasts. Pleasant contact generates a pleasant feeling. Painful contact generates a painful feeling. Neutral contact generates a neutral feeling. When each contact changes and ceases, the corresponding feeling ceases as well. Therefore, all the pleasant feelings are impermanent, subject to change. All the happy feelings are not mine, not I am, not myself. All the painful feelings are impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. All the neutral feelings are impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. All the feelings existed in the past are impermanent, subject to change. All the past feelings are not mine, not I am, not myself. All the future feelings are impermanent, subject to change. Future feelings are not mine, not I am, not myself. All the present feelings are impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. Feelings are impermanent, subject to change. As long as someone tries to hold on to feelings, the suffering continues. The day that the desire for feelings is abandoned is the day that the end of suffering comes. The third group of clinging is Sanya Upadana Khandu, perception group of clinging. Due to the same contact, perception of visual objects arises. Colors, perception of colors, perception of beauty, perception of details of an object, perception of sound arises. When contact arises, perception of smells arises. When contact arises, perception of tastes arises. When contact arises, perception of tangibles arises. When contact arises, when contact of mind arises, perception of thoughts arises. All the perceptions that generate happiness, joy, or pain, sadness, all the perceptions last as long as contact lasts. As soon as contact changes, correspondent perception changes. No one has any control over any perception. Therefore, perception is impermanent, subject to change. Perception is not mine, not I am, not myself. All the perceptions that arose in the past are impermanent. subject to change. All the past perceptions are not mine, not I am, not myself. All the perceptions that are going to arise in future are impermanent, subject to change. All the future perceptions are not mine, not I am, not myself. All the perceptions that have arisen at present are impermanent. They are conditioned by contact. Therefore, present perception is subject to change. It is not mine, not I am, not myself. As long as clinging continues, the perception, suffering continues. Desire for perception is to be abandoned. When it is abandoned, suffering comes to an end. Perception is impermanent, subject to change. Fourth group of clinging is Sankhara Upadana Kanda, which means the thoughts, volitions. With the arising of contact, thoughts arise. Thoughts about visual objects arise. Thoughts about sounds arise. Thoughts about smells arise. Thoughts about tastes arise. Thoughts about touches and tangibles arise. Thoughts about volitions arise. All these thoughts are conditioned by contact. With the arising of contact, thoughts arise. With the passing away of contact, thoughts pass away and cease. All the thoughts are impermanent, subject to change. All the thoughts are not mine, not I am, not myself. All the thoughts that arose in the past arose due to contact. Therefore, all the thoughts in the past are impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. All the thoughts that are going to arise in future are impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. All the thoughts that have arisen at present have arisen due to contact. Therefore, they are impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. All the thoughts are impermanent, subject to change. The fifth group of clinging is consciousness, Vijnana Khandha. When mentality and materiality arise, I consciousness arises, ear consciousness arises, nose consciousness arises, tongue consciousness arises, body consciousness arises, and mind consciousness arises. When mentality and materiality ceases, consciousness ceases too. Consciousness that arose in past lasted till the mentality and materiality lasted. With the cessation of mentality and materiality, consciousness ceased. Therefore, the past consciousness is impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. Consciousness that is going to arise in future will arise with the arising of mentality and materiality, and will cease with the cessation of mentality and materiality. Therefore, future consciousness is impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. Consciousness that has arisen in present is impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. Now the entire life is all about physical body, feeling, perception, thoughts, and consciousness. This way, the fully enlightened Buddha asks us to analyze the entire life and asks us to understand the selfless nature of all conditioned things, the meaningless nature of clinging to all the conditioned things, and how suffering arises due to lack of knowledge and due to clinging and craving for selfless things. All the conditioned things in this world are impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. All the conditioned things existed in the past are impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. All the conditioned things that will exist in future are impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. All the conditioned things that exist at present are impermanent, subject to change, not mine, not I am, not myself. All the conditioned things in the human world, all the conditioned things in the heavenly world, all the conditioned things in the animal world, all the conditioned things in the hell world, all the conditioned things in the ghost world, higher or lower, all the conditioned things are impermanent, subject to change. Slowly and gradually stop your meditation. Appreciating the instructions of a fully enlightened Buddha, rejoicing in the powerful good karma of Vipassana meditation, mental development, and sharing merit with all beings. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.